Today, our guest is Mike Finnegan, radial tire recycler, professional adventure haver, Instagram megastar, host of Finnegan's Garage on YouTube, former host of Roadkill, former host of Faster with Finnegan, former host of the Kibbe and Finnegan podcast, but our current favorite former of everything. Today, we will catch up with him where we last left off because, frankly, we just love him and we miss him. Mike, welcome back.
Oh, that's so warm. Thank you. I appreciate it. A lot of formers there. Wow. I hadn't really given that a lot of thought, but it sounds very dire.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking, how does one introduce Mike Finnegan? It doesn't really need an introduction. Let's list everything Mike has either quit or failed or was asked not to return or just didn't show up for.
Yeah. All those apply, actually.
Well, here we are. Mike, briefly, who are you and where are you from?
Oh, well, my name is Michael Finnegan. I am from Georgia, real close to Atlanta, but not in Atlanta, thank God. Not that there's anything wrong with Atlanta. I just don't want to live in a city anymore. And so just outside of Atlanta where it's mostly trees and water, which is great. And currently I'm a full-time YouTuber, which is a lot of fun.
I believe you. Now, am I right in thinking here that you are 10 years into YouTubing? Did you start your own personal channel 10 years ago?
Yeah, next month will be the 10th anniversary of Finnegan's Garage on YouTube.
And back then, I mean, 10 years ago was a lifetime ago for many of us. But 10 years ago, the world of automotive media and entertainment was enormously different. Magazines existed, TV shows existed, and they kind of exist today, but what they look like is almost unrelatable. Did you see this coming, or did you just start your own YouTube channel because you wanted to?
A little of both. I mean, I'm not a prophet, and I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but the decline of print media was pretty easy to see, beginning in probably 2008. And the rise of YouTube was real easy to spot. But I literally started my YouTube channel in 2016 because when I was doing Roadkill, it began on YouTube and it blew up on YouTube. And somebody who's not nearly as smart as me or anyone else in that room decided to take it off of YouTube. And as soon as they did that, I went, oh, that's a horrible idea. I don't know how long this is going to last. Let me start a YouTube channel so I have a job, if this thing implodes. I never expected it to last as long as it did behind a paywall, but it did. And luckily when it ended, I had a YouTube channel with, 8 years of effort behind it. So I had a job, thank God.
I don't quite remember when did not just Roadkill, but all of the formal TV shows that we know and love, when did they formally end?
2024, October, November of 2024 is when they yanked the plug on the complete production side of Motor Trend with regards to those original car shows. They were all done. In fact, some of them, I think a couple of them, they didn't even air the last season on streaming platforms or cable television. I've heard that about Faster with Newbern and Cotton, that their last season didn't air. But so yeah, it's been about a year now.
Well, the reason I mentioned that is I'm not here to make you feel bad, because things are feeling pretty.
I'm way past all of that. For a few days after I got the news, I was genuinely sad, mostly about how it ended. But then I sat down and I added up all the days we filmed Roadkill. And what I realized was 13 years and an average of 15 episodes a year. I missed an entire year of my kids' lives. And once I realized that, I went, oh, this is the perfect time for this thing to end, because I got kids that are about to be teenagers and they're getting into sports and they're a lot of fun. And there were all these moments that I had been missing. while I was away filming that show, and I'm not missing now. And so as soon as I realized that, dude, you can talk about Roadkill all you want and the fact that it's over. I'm okay with it. It's not ideal, sure, but I much prefer to spend time with my kids and my wife than go on the road as much as I was on the road. So
Well, the new version of Post Roadkill is pretty good, and I would say that one of the things that was immediately asked right after Roadkill went away was, does that mean you can't work with Freiberger anymore? And
oh
that's a problem because that's what we, the world, want.
yeah,
We
the answer
wanted
is
that.
no. He was out of work, I was out of work, and before that there were these complicated contracts where a lot of us couldn't appear with each other unless it was on a Motor Trend product. For example, like when Faster with Finnegan started, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks before that show started filming, there was nobody, there was no cast other than me, and they were bringing people to my house to audition with me, which was really fun. I had never been a part of a process like that. But
Really.
I'm a big believer in you can't fake chemistry, and it's just a lot easier to work with people you're actually friends with. And so when it got down to crunch time, and I was like, yo, just hire my friends. They've never done television, but whatever. Like Newbern's already working on my YouTube channel, so you can see what he looks like there on camera. And Cotton is a character; he's a natural on camera. I'm like, just hire my friends. And so they did, which was great because that show turned out awesome. But next thing you know, Newbern wasn't allowed to be on my YouTube channel, and stuff like that got real
Hmm.
complicated. Because it was that era of automotive television. The legacy of it is Hollywood and these weird contracts and a lot of exclusivity and things you can do and things you can't do. And now that that's all over with, it's the wild wild west. We can go do whatever we want whenever we want. Like this
Hmm.
episode of Finnegan's Garage that comes out on Sunday, there's 3 different YouTubers on there. It's gonna be great. Freiberger's on there, Aaron and Emily Reeves is on there, Shay Seafelt is on there. There's all these people that, a couple years ago I wouldn't have been able to do anything with on YouTube, and now I can. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise that all of this changed.
I didn't know they had a casting call for it. So for Faster with Finnegan's, like, did they bring you like smoothed up actors, or was everybody like a legit car person?
Yeah, they were car people. Like, they were people that owned shops. Met a couple of real nice guys that own shops. There were people that had been on car shows before, like John Andrade, who was on Street Outlaws and who has his own shop in Yukon, Oklahoma. They brought him in, and he was great. But at the end of the day, it was like he was great, but we didn't know each other real well. And proud of probably out of everybody they brought in, he was who I gelled with the most. But in that short amount of time, it was like, if you just bring in my actual friends, we can bust each other's nuts immediately, and
Hmm.
make fun of each other and have a good time. And the proof was in the pudding. That show was a hit for them right out of the gate, because of the people I was working with.
What is your favorite car from Faster with Finnegan or Faster with Cotton and Newburn?
It would have been Greta. It would have been a toss up. It was Greta, the Ford Pinto wagon, or it was the Miata, which was that Mazda Miata that we shoved a 50 shot of nitrous down, like on a button, just held it down and climbed a mountain with. It was really fun. The Miata wasn't anything like I would personally want to own, but oh my god, was it fun to drive in that narrow microcosm of just get from the bottom of this hill to the top of this hill. That thing was awesome. And Greta was just fun as hell to learn to drift and go around a road course with and whoop up on a Ferrari with.
Do those cars still exist?
They do. Sadly, I just sold Greta, um, because I just got too much stuff these days, and I'm out of
Hmm.
space, and so I just sold Greta. One of the other project cars from that show that I really liked was the Monsoon, which was a GMC Safari all-wheel drive minivan with the rear-mounted turbos.
Uh-huh.
I still own that one. I'd love to sell it and see someone else finish it because it runs, it drives, it's great. It's not fast. It needs to be faster. And I would love to see someone else, especially another YouTuber, take that thing and just run with it, and make it even better. Because
I,
I'm just flat out of room in my warehouse.
I personally enjoyed the Fairmont that you guys had Corey LaJoy drive. Eventually,
Oh, Corey
wasn't that
LaJoy
what it
was
was? It was a
awesome.
Fairmont, right? I think it was.
Yeah, Rick
Yeah.
Flairmont.
hmm
Woo! Corey was hysterical, dude. When he walked up on like the very first scene, he walks in and kicks out my taillight. God, it was funny, dude. Oh man, and
How
he's a
about
madman behind the wheel.
well, so that was what was interesting about that episode is because when a race car driver gets in a car, every now and then it's just like, Days of Thunder, like you see, there's a race car driver.
Yeah,
You know it when you see it. And when he took his first pass, like holy smokes! All right, that's a race car driver. That's what they
yeah,
do. It is all in, full tilt. Whether I live or die here, is on the line. But I'm not. That's all. That's all I can do. It's all in.
yeah. No fear. I like to think I'm pretty competent behind the wheel, and against people of similar skill sets. I will go further into a corner and brake later than most of my friends. But this
hmm
dude, no regard for his own personal safety. I mean, that car was actively cutting two of the tires as it went around the track when I was driving it. There was an oil leak that was just showering the inside of that thing in hot oil and transmission fluid, maybe not transmission fluid, but motor oil. And he just got in there and immediately just whooped my time by a lot and just kept going. And when he finally stopped, the tires were about to fall off the car. Like, it was
hmm
awesome, dude. So
it
impressive.
was. Oh, okay. So I put together a series of questions, knowing what fans want to know. So all right. So the
Okay.
Stubby Bob lives in and has, is visible, is returned, has been towed by a limo.
Yeah.
How many roadkill cars, like a fan favorite roadkill cars, I guess I should say, live and will be seen again?
Oh, a lot of them. That was one of the really cool things that I don't know who you would credit for this. Warner Brothers Discovery is such a large company that maybe they didn't even aware what was happening at the end, but they shut down all those car shows. And a couple of dudes that worked for Motor Trend stayed until the ship went all the way under the water. And one of their responsibilities was getting rid of the fleet of cars, getting rid of the studio, the tools, everything. And those guys were kind enough to reach out to the host and say, "Hey, we know you worked on these things. We know you're attached to them. Would you like to buy them?" And as a result of that, the Rotson 1971 Datsun 240Z, I bought
hmm
NASCARlo, which is a street legal stock car on a 1970 Chevy Monte Carlo body. I just got Stubby Bob from Freiburger, which is really exciting. What else? I'm brain farting. But a lot of the ones that were on Roadkill, like Death Metal Charger, I still have that. The Dumpster Fire Daytona, I still have that. Blasphemy. Um, and Freiberger, he's got the muscle truck, he's got General Mayhem, like he got a bunch of really cool ones. I think all of the tent pole hero cars are still accounted for and hopefully won't
Awesome.
disappear.
And for those cars, Blasphemy is your car, and Death Metal is your
Yeah.
car. How many cars were like owned, not your cars that you had to purchase back?
Oh, well, hundreds of the cars were Motor Trends. They had a warehouse full of them. Very few were actually mine. Like the Rubber Duck is mine, Death Metal, Dumpster Fire, Blasphemy. Um, my '67 Chevy C10 was on Roadkill. My wife's El Camino was on Roadkill. Maybe 10 throughout all the seasons, I'm guessing. Oh, I bought the vet cart. I have that. But
You do.
yeah, I bought the vet cart. So I bought the vet cart and drove it home from Tennessee like 3 hours and or not 3 hours, 300 miles. I got stopped by a cop like a mile from where I picked it up at Derek Beery's house. And this
Mm-hmm.
cop was like, what are you doing in this? And I said, I'm driving it back to Georgia. He's like, you're never going to make it. I'm like, no, it's pretty reliable. He's like, no, I mean, the cops are not going to let you drive this down the road. I'm like, well, it's registered and insured. I don't see why not. And he let me go. And he's like, yeah, they'll get you on the interstate. Just go. And I was like, okay. And I drove it all the way home. Never had a problem,
What does he know?
Oh,
Who's I find it hard to believe that no one has stopped you for do you feel comfortable driving this vehicle on the interstate? Yes, I do. It seems very
I do.
planes, trains, and automobiles to me.
It's
that
funny.
it's not
The
safe.
history of roadkill. In the history of roadkill, we got 2 vehicles impounded in 13 years. Got them both back, and I think Freiberger got 1 ticket, and I never got a ticket. And we
Really?
got pulled over once for driving too slow in the Maserati and impeding traffic. But all of those contraptions that we drove, there were never permits for any of the stuff we did. We just went out and did it. So when you're driving like that flat fender Jeep that's like this far off the ground and, if someone hits it, you're dead. We never
Mm-hmm.
got stopped. It was wild. All those burnouts, like I don't know. I'm a big believer in if you drive something old and you just drive casual and, don't drive like an idiot, cops got better things to do, than hassle you. So,
That apparently, because it's working for you.
yeah.
Tell me,
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to ask you some YouTuber questions here. So,
Yeah.
Cletus McFarland, is he
Good dude.
legitimately trying to become a race car driver, or is this the world's best publicity stunt?
He's one of the most competitive people I've ever met. He's for sure taking the act of driving that car and truck seriously. Is he serious enough to run a whole season? I don't know. I've never talked to him about it. For sure, he doesn't need to do it. His personal channel, his brand, his business, everything is fine without doing that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know. You'd have to ask him. It's a great question. I think when he's there, he's serious as a heart attack about what he's doing, even though he's joking around when he's on camera. Um, when he's behind the wheel, he's serious. Does that translate into putting all his eggs in that basket and trying to run all year long? Don't know. It's a good question though.
So, I'll confess, now that my kid's doing this and wants this to be his profession, I'm studying the world and business of racing so much, and my kid is the worst. It's it's such an upside down business, and for almost everyone, and him involved, him too, it's a pay to play sport. You got to
Oh
bring
yeah.
some talent, you got to bring some money. I mean, that's the game. So the fact that he is basically skipping the earning your stripes part probably rubs some people the wrong way. I personally think he's got talent. I don't know
Oh,
if he's
for
going to
sure.
succeed in this or not, but I think he's got talent. I think he's capable of doing this. I think the fact that he hasn't raced a lot uh, may eventually catch up to him. Um, but f- frankly, I hope it works. I think it would be kind of awesome if it worked. That
Oh
that's just
yeah,
my
because
take.
it's so much fun to watch. It and
Hmm.
you're right. He has skipped some of the steps because the upside of him being there is so good for everybody that's involved in that sport. And
Definitely.
you're right. It's pay to play. If you're nobody and have all the talent in the world, you better have every dollar you need to campaign that car because that's the only way you're going to get a driver's seat. But if you're somebody like him that literally makes title changes to the broadcast when you're there, the viewership numbers,
Hmm.
literally you can see if you can just go to YouTube and look at NASCAR's channel and when there's a Cletus video, there goes the numbers. When there's everyone else, there goes the numbers. Um,
Yep.
and so that enables you to skip some steps for sure. And I think the talent, he has all the talent in the world. The lack of experience, sure, that's gonna be a problem, but how do you get experience if you don't go do it? So he's skipping the
Totally.
shifter carts and the smaller cars where you get a lot of experience, but maybe the experience he gets from driving everything on wheels every day of his life, on YouTube, maybe that's better. I don't know.
We'll all find out, and frankly, I hope it works.
Oh,
And
me
also,
too.
frankly, I'm quite jealous. Yeah, but I hope it works.
Yeah, and not just because
All
I'm
right.
friends with him. It's so much fun to watch somebody with that enthusiasm for what they're doing, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
just a job. When you get him next to some other drivers, they're meh because it's their job. It doesn't always feel like it's their passion. It feels like it's their job. And he is so happy to be there and so excited. How can you not want to root for that dude?
Totally. Shifting gears, what do you think about the new Grand Tour with the guys from Throttle House and what's the guy's name? Frenshaw Boards, the train spotter guy.
Oh, whew, those are some tough shoes to fill. Good luck. I don't know any of those new dudes. I My prediction is that it goes probably the same way it did every time someone else tried to launch another Top Gear with three new people. It's
Mm-hmm.
really hard, and I do think, and we talked about this earlier, if they're not friends in real life, real friends, and they don't have that chemistry, you know, it's gonna look scripted. It's gonna be, not as good as it could be. So I hope that those dudes that they got to replace, Clarkson, Hammond, and May are really good friends in real life because that you need that. You know, do we need
Yeah,
another grand tour? No, you could launch it and call it something else. But I get why you're doing it. It's a legacy brand with a lot of value to it, and if you can somehow continue it on, you'd be a fool not to try that. So I get why they're doing it.
I am a fan of the Throttle House channel, and I'm just from watching, I would assume that Thomas and James are pretty good friends. Um,
Cool.
Pairing with dude number three that they don't know, that's the risk, certainly. But Throttle House is an awesome. I've been just a fanboy for like 2 years. I just love it. They,
It's good
they
to hear.
have they are friends. They're a very good chemistry.
My keyboard.
Okay, how about Aaron and Emily Reeves? Who is better looking, Aaron or Emily?
Oh, well, it depends on the light, and time of day, I
Mm.
think. And what are you, nuts? It's Emily. Come on.
Okay, I'm just curious because at PRI, I saw Aaron walk out with just coiffed hair and like, that's that's a good looking man there.
Oh, he's a solid dude. Absolutely. But Emily, uh, her personality,
Yeah,
she's obviously attractive, but her personality just ratchets everything up way higher. And
she
not
is.
that Aaron doesn't have a personality, but they're a yin and a yang. Emily is
Hmm.
very bubbly, it's hard not to be in a good mood when you're around Emily. It really is.
Totally. Final one. Derek Bierry. Is that how you say his last name? By Script Garage, Derek? I
Yeah.
think it's Bierry. All right. Does he really talk like that in real life? Like, does he
I mean,
really
I don't
say
know.
"I'll be dipped" and stuff like that?
God, I don't know what the politically correct answer is. To a degree, it's kind of like Cletus. Cletus is, Garrett's alter ego, and he's been doing it so long, it's kind of bled into his real life. Um, but I mean, I think, Derek is hamming it up for sure when he's making YouTube videos, but there's an element of that in him.
Okay, hold on.
Hmm.
He would be doing this stuff even if the camera wasn't there, for sure.
Cool. All right. What do you got going on in your shop right now for upcoming videos?
Oh, well, this weekend you guys are going to get to see, after building that big block Chevy in the limo, how we got it out of the limo, and then what happened when we put it in the limo and dynoed it and tried to drive it. And then week after that, you're going to see Joe and I build a complete floor for my Cadillac. That's done, which is exciting. Actually,
Exciting.
when I hang
Yeah.
up with you, I'm going back downstairs to finish welding it. But we cut and broke and bead rolled sheet metal for the whole inside of that Cadillac. And turns out it's a lot of work. It's a Cadillac. It's long. It's so long that in order to build the transmission tunnel, I had to go to an elevator construction company and have them build the drive shaft tunnel out of one piece because my sheet metal brake wasn't 8 feet long, you know? So there's some cool stuff there.
Are you getting surgery on a leg or a knee or an arm?
Next Tuesday, yeah.
So like you, I am post 50 and things are breaking. Shockingly faster than they used to get hurt even.
Yeah.
What happened to you? Is this a
I
long
was,
time you needed surgery or what?
No, I took a day off of work to go ride dirt bikes with my kids, something we all really enjoy doing. And I came off one jump, goosed the throttle for the next jump, but when I landed, the throttle on that 450 is like an on and off switch. And when I landed, I twisted it just a little bit and it instantly stood up in a wheelie. And I
Oh no.
got off the back of the bike and was kind of running behind it, trying to save the bike. And but I was going too fast. And so I ended up falling flat on my back with my right leg under me. And as I was falling, I went, oh God, I'm not 25 anymore. And it hurt, but I didn't think it was that bad, you know? But the next day I woke up and my knee looked like a softball. So I went and got an MRI and they're like, oh yeah, you broke your tibia, you ripped your ACL completely in half and your meniscus is screwed up. And I was like, I didn't fall that fast or that hard. Oh my God. So yeah, I don't know. I got to go for surgery on Tuesday and I'm crossing my fingers. The rehab doesn't mean I'm, on crutches for an extended period of time. Cause I got a lot of work I want to do. I got a lot of things I want to do this summer.
What events will you be at this summer? Are you scheduled for events this summer?
Yeah, I'll be at the Mickey Thompson Turn and Burn event in May. I will be at SEMA and PRI. In between then, I've scheduled nothing because I don't know what's going to go on with my leg. So
right.
It'll all depend on how rehab goes.
I dig the full movies that you've been doing.
Thanks.
It must be a lot of work. But they are great. And just as a friend and a fan, we love seeing you with all your friends on camera. It makes us happy. It's good. It's good for the unit. Yep.
It's good for my soul.
So I hope you keep that up. If you ever need somebody with a General Lee, I still have one. I am contracted though by Justin Corndog Cornett, and my understanding is that you and he are not cool. And whenever he says we can play, I guess I can, but you'll have to clear that with him.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll reach out for that. Maybe we'll just go get a Bandit Trans Am instead of the General Lee, just so that you and I can go play without actually having to be in the same room as him. If he showered, it'd be different. I'd feel differently if he just not even deodorant, bro. Just some soap, some under the armpits. Do something.
He's a vicious man.
That wasn't even for me. That was from somebody else.
Oh, I see. All right, Mike. What are all the channels that people can find you?
You may find me on YouTube at Finnegan's Garage. I am on TikTok. I am on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. Just search Mike Finnegan. You'll find me. But YouTube, every Sunday, new episode for you guys.
Awesome. Mike, good. No, of course not. Good as always. I'll catch you later. See you later.